Good afternoon and welcome to Bridging Connections NSSRS to Advisor, the data conference for 2018. It is indeed exciting to see so many bright, smiling, eager to learn and participate faces in the audience. We also are very thankful the sun is shining. It's an incredibly awesome experience to have the sun in the spring in Nebraska this year. A few quick announcements before we jump in and start with the day. For those that have not already done so, the guidebook, which is essentially the electronic program, is available. You can get it on your mobile device or online. I think if you Google Bridging Connections, you're able to bring it up. Or if you go to the guidebook application, you're able to bring it down. And within the guidebook has the sessions, especially the breakouts for tomorrow, a lot of the presentations, handouts, all of those kinds of things. The second piece is this afternoon, we primarily, it's a little different for this particular conference. We're actually going to stay in the same room all afternoon as a part of the experience. And so tomorrow will be more of the breakouts, pick and choose sessions. But the sessions primarily will be in this room all afternoon until we break into specific student information system vendor rooms. And then following that, we'll have a reception in the exhibit hall from 5 to 6 and encourage you to come and enjoy some food and beverage as a part of that particular experience. And then, of course, hashtag NSSRS to Advisor is our Twitter handle for the conference. And I think it's called a handle. It's not a handle, is it? No, it's just a hashtag. Sorry, still learning my social media lingo. However, love to have you tweet out information, insights, and perspectives as a part of that work. So, let us get started. My name is Dean Folkers. I am the Information Systems Officer at the Nebraska Department of Education. Indeed, a pleasure to be here with you at this exciting 2018 data conference. I wanted to share just a bit of information before I have the pleasure of introducing our kickoff keynote guest speaker this afternoon. A couple of things that I wanted you to be aware of is that the Nebraska State Board of Education established a strategic vision and direction about a year and some months ago. And this broad vision and direction, kind of targeting goals all the way out to 2026, provided an opportunity for us to coalesce and focus on the priorities within our state around the education system. Embedded within the strategic vision and direction were five specific roles that the board and the department wanted to embrace. And so those five roles are critically important because they really kind of embed and represent a lot of what we're trying to accomplish at this conference and in much of the work that we're working to achieve. Those five roles are champion, being an advocate, a champion, providing leadership for efforts in the education system. They are a capacity builder, creating an opportunity for us to build capacity within the education system, find ways to do things more efficiently and effectively. Of course, the one that most people are familiar with the Department of Education for, and that's the regulator role. But there's also opportunities for us to do so in a way that helps move the ball forward and supports the education system. We also have a role of being a connector, connecting some pieces of the puzzle, connecting partners, connecting to resources to help move things forward. And the final role was the change agent, trying to embrace opportunities to support the great work that happens in our schools, but ultimately helping facilitate that work of change. So at this conference, we're really excited about having the opportunity to focus on technical support as we make the transition from NSSRS to Advisor. We see on the agenda that there are some engaging examples and exciting opportunities for the use of data and the connections of what's happening. We also want to make sure that we expand a deeper understanding of what it is that we're trying to do with this process. and focusing in on some of the tools and resources to increase the data quality, as well as the whole purpose of collecting data, and that's to use it in the most effective and efficient way. So often we've heard, whether it be anonymous letter, whether it be some other kind of version of asking the question, why are we doing this whole advisor thing? Why are we moving from NSSRS to advisor? And so I thought, at least for purposes of kind of kicking off this piece, that I would share with you 3 numbers to help answer the why. And so these 3 numbers are 655,000, 100 million, and 317,000. Those are the 3 numbers, and that's why, or a big part of the why, that we are moving from NSSRS to advisor as a part of this work. And so hopefully you're asking the inquisitive question, what does this have to do with anything? Well, the 655,000 actually came from a legislative study a couple of years ago that asked how much, it was a study focused on the data systems in Nebraska, and we discovered that our education system, the teachers, the administrators, the school personnel, were spending 655,000 hours a year sending us data at the Department of Education. And so we take a look at that 655,000 hours, and if we just looked at like a 24-hour day, 7 days a week, 52 days, or 52 weeks a year, that total number of hours adds up to around 75 years. So 75 years, a lifetime of resources are being used to send us data as a part of this work. Well, we know not everybody can work 24/7, 52. So I broke it down into if we spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week during a normal 180-day school year, that would be 455 years that we are spending each year sending us data as a part of this process that we currently had in place. And so this was a major driver for us in thinking, how can we do this more efficiently? How can we do this more effectively? How can we build capacity to save time and put those hours and times and years back into the hands of schools to make a difference in the lives of kids? So the second number is 100 million. This was the number from the study that we found that is spent annually in Nebraska on licenses, software systems, and some of the staff time to help support that. And so we also found as a part of that there was inequities of access to these systems in our state on an annual basis. That there are often redundant sources, so one system had to have its own data source and another system had to have its separate data source, and they didn't connect. So there were opportunities for multiple duplicative efforts going on. And as you might suspect, then with those multiple duplicative efforts, there's varied security and privacy approaches that were all over the place. And so that 100 million number was also a significant driving opportunity for us. It also created us, moved forward the conversations around needing a standard. How is it that we could potentially address the issues of automation, save some resources and time, find connections? Well, we needed a standard, and that's where this work really started to take off as a part of this work with EdFi. Now, some of you that have been around the last 3 or 4 years in this journey of transition, we've been working diligently, slowly, working to achieve this transition. But it's really been about creating a consistent base for us to increase the accuracy, reduce the burden, create this foundation for a digital ecosystem, and ultimately create this opportunity for us to think about how we can do things collectively in our state that help benefit the schools and the students. So the final number of the why is 317,000, and this is roughly the estimated number of public school students that we have in our state. The 317,000 kids, students, young people that are in our schools are the primary reason why we're wanting to create a better system, to build our capacity, to become change agents, to connect some of these pieces, and to provide opportunities for us to move more effectively and efficiently in this work. We know we've seen increasing mobility of these students, so an opportunity to seamlessly migrate and transition their records, an increase in the digital use, and ultimately helping to ensure every student every day has the right opportunities to become educated in our state. So before I introduce our speaker this morning, or it is the afternoon. Before I introduce our speaker this afternoon, those three numbers of 655,000, 100 million, and 317,000 would, and the systems that are helping to address them would not be possible if it weren't for some dedicated, committed staff at the Department of Education and some partners in helping move that forward. And what I'd like to do is introduce a few of them. You'll get a chance to hear directly from several of them throughout the day and tomorrow, but I'd like to recognize them here for their amazing, diligent, committed, dedicated efforts over the past years making this happen. First, I'd like to recognize Jill Aaron. If Jill, would you stand up? Jill is the lead of our EdFi effort in Nebraska. She has provided technical lead work for us and is continuing to contribute to some of these efforts, in fact, around the country as well. Without getting into naming every single person, I'd like for the data research and evaluation staff to stand up, including the help desk and the project management office. If you wouldn't mind standing up. These folks have varied and amazing roles in providing support. You met some of them at work days, the 65 work days that they've had at ESUs this past year. The amazing work that they've done to help move some of this forward has been incredible. We also have been partnering with the Educational Service Unit Coordinating Council. So the Nebraska Cloud, the single sign-on work, and a number of those particular pieces. And I think it's important to know that this isn't just a department thing, but we're connecting and creating partnerships as a part of this work. And so I don't know if Dave or Scott or anybody from the Educational Service Unit Coordinating Council would stand and thank you for your work. And finally, there's a number of people at the Nebraska Department of Education that I'd also like to recognize, including our Commissioner of Education. If you wouldn't mind standing and being recognized for your contributions and commitment to education.